morning, TPSD parents and students, and welcome to another edition of Distance Learning 101 here on ABC WTVA. I'm Greg Ellis, and today we are joined by Kashana Pittman, a teacher at Milam.
Yes.
And she has got all kind of things prepared for us today, a little poetry. We're going to be doing some thinking today, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And this is the first time you've actually got your students in a Google Classroom right now, live, ready to go.
They are ready. They are really ready to go.
So we're going to have a real teaching moment with your students today.
Yes.
All right. Well, kind of explain to us before we dive in what exactly we're going to be doing.
Well, today we're going to be looking at poetry. And when children hear poetry, they just kind of think, oh. Just because they have to dig a little deep and things are so abstract, and we are not looking at your normal poems. We're looking at song lyrics to analyze as poems.
Fun.
And that gives us a chance to incorporate the arts with music. So we're looking at song lyrics as poems today, and we'll analyze those, looking at the figurative language, identifying the figurative language. We'll talk about tone and mood and the difference between tone and mood and what causes the tone and mood. And so they'll, like I said, it's going to be some thinking going on.
Awesome. And I'm going to brag on you real quick.
Okay.
She doesn't have 1 degree. She doesn't have 2. She doesn't have just 3. She's got 4 degrees. So if anybody knows what they're talking about, it's going to be, are we going to go for a 5th or 6th, or what's going to be the...
I am thinking about pursuing a doctorate.
Of course.
Natural next step. Just looking at some different schools and where I can do it for the cheapest amount.
There you go.
I'm not trying to, get a whole lot of student loans, so I'm looking for scholarships and the such, so that I can move on with that.
Would like to say you're from Calhoun City.
Yes.
But you're Irish now.
Yes.
But as you told me earlier once, you never leave Calhoun City. It's always a part of you.
Yes. I was just there Saturday visiting family.
There you go.
That was my outing for the day.
And now we brought you into Church Street Elementary today to do some filming.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are going to dive in and get your students involved, and we're gonna learn a little poetry and kind of how our mind thinks when it comes to poetry.
All right. So today we are moving into my Google Classroom, and we have things set up in a stream and a classwork. And I like to go through the classwork. We have our distance learning, and this is everything we've been working on in distance learning. And we're going to go ahead and go into the instructional videos. And we found some instructional videos. Some of them we made as a department. Some of them we found online on YouTube and screen recorded to get those so that they would upload, because at the time the kids couldn't access the YouTube videos.
Right.
So, but they fixed that now, but we have them. And the first video is the unit introduction, and we're not going to go all the way through this, but the unit introduction is where I sat down and walked my students through what they're supposed to be doing, the assignment as a whole. So that if they did not participate in the Google Meet, they would have these videos to go back to, and they can stop and pause and go back if they missed something. And this is just me walking them through where to find it. We discuss the overview of the unit and what it is they're supposed to be doing. So that was the first instructional video. Then we have another.
Would this be normal in your classroom anyway? Would you be doing this pretty much the same way?
Yes, this would be something I would do the same way, except for in the classroom it would be face-to-face. I would be actually providing that instruction for them. And I would walk them through the assignment and what they're supposed to be doing. But now, since we're online, we have to adjust a little, modify and adjust. And that's what one of my my clinical instructor told me when I was student teaching. She said the best advice I can give you is modify and adjust, be able to modify and adjust. And I have taken that with me.
Little did you know how important that would be.
Little did I know. So the next one is a poetry introduction video. And with the poetry introduction video, again, it talks about, it gives the students instructions on how to walk through and go and analyze and pick out the different parts of the poetry.
What
so
is
here
poetry?
it is.
Poetry is a piece of writing written by an author called a poet. But what is the purpose of poetry? A poem is written using rhythm, rhyme, and other artistic language to show feelings and emotions. It's often short, but some poets write long poems too. Rhythm and rhyme are a part of many poems. Rhythm is the beat or sound pattern of a poem. Lots of poets use repetition and similar word sounds to create the beat or rhythm. Here's an example. A candy bar, a piece of cake, a lollipop, a chocolate shake.
So again, this video is one that I would have given instruction in class.
Okay.
So it just talks about the different elements of poetry and how poems are used and what they are doing in the poetry. Now, one of the big things we have to think about when it comes to poetry is the fact that there is so much figurative language.
And by figurative language, you mean?
Similes, metaphors, personification, onomatopoeia, and then we get into some more complex ones.
Okay.
Now, these are nothing new. These are, students have been learning to identify different figurative language since kindergarten.
Gotcha.
But we just kind of build on it
Gotcha.
as we go, and we take it a step further. They don't just have to identify, they have to then analyze. So
Yeah, that is a step further.
that is a step further. So we have another video that talks about the elements of poetry, and it talks about the different types of figurative language, and this one is on the elements of poetry, and it talks about alliteration,
Okay.
which is the repetition of beginning sounds.
Do you find with these videos that it gets their attention a little bit more than, let's go back to when you and I were in school and didn't have this?
Yes. And like I said, they can definitely go back and, you know, start them over and
Right.
stop them. And it helps me as a classroom teacher because I'm not having to repeat
Right.
a lot of things. And
It's like taking notes in college almost, except it's done for you.
it's done for you. So it starts out talking about theme, and the theme is something that stays with us. We talk about theme all year long. You know, the theme is your overall lesson, like the life lesson that the poet or the writer wants you to learn
Gotcha.
from it. So they talk about theme, and they give some examples
Okay.
of with the different elements of poetry, and we're not going to go all the way through that one. And then we have some vocabulary. We have a vocabulary slideshow that the students would go through, and again, walking them through so that they are able to, if they really didn't care for the videos, this gives them the information in a different way.
Gotcha.
So for those students who aren't necessarily auditory, here we go.
Visual.
It's just more visual. So we have the types of poetry, and we get this a little bit later on. We have alliteration, imagery, the lines, persona. And we talk about these
Okay.
in some of the questions. So once we get ready to start talking about the questions, they can go back and figure out, okay, so what is persona? Oh, that's what it is. So that's what they're talking about. So we have a slideshow and then we have a Quizlet and a vocabulary word search that gets it more hands-on with the same vocabulary. So we are going to move now, and those are just the instructional videos we posted to begin with. And like I said, everyone gets a chance to go back and play those videos. So I'm going to, all right guys, so we are getting ready now to start working on our video, on our activities. and we're going to look at the Cool Kids.
All right, so get them started, and then because we got a break that's coming up.
Okay.
And we will when we get back from break.
Okay.
We will get them heavily involved.
All right. So we are going to look at Cool Kids, and while we are breaking, I need you to go ahead and read through the lyrics.
All right. Well, with that said, while she's getting her kids ready, we are going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is Distance Learning 101. Welcome back to Distance Learning 101. I'm Greg Ellis, and I am with Miss Pittman from Milam today. And I told you that these segments fly by. We've been talking about poetry, and now you're going to dive in with your kids on Google Classroom.
Yes.
And so I'm going to just let you have at it with them now.
Well, all right. Well, the first thing we were supposed to do is look at and read the lyrics to Cool Kids by Echo Smith. And when we first start thinking about the poetic form, we have to look at how many lines, how many stanzas. And when I first look at this one, there's one big long stanza versus several stanzas, and we'll look at how many lines there are. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So wow. My trusty notebook and paper, we have 31 lines. So we have 31 lines here, and when I look at it, I do see some of the lines repeat. It says she sees them walking in a straight line. That's not really her style, and they all got the same heartbeat, but hers is falling behind. Nothing in this world could ever bring them down. Yeah, they're invincible, and she's just in the background. And she says, I wish I could be like the cool kids, because all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish I could be like the cool kids, He sees them walking with a big smile, but they haven't got a clue. Yeah, they're living the good life, can't see what he's going through. So we go through and read those lyrics. And the first question asks us, what is your first impression of the song? So I'm going to give you all a chance to talk to me. And what is your first impression of the song Cool Kids? Mac?
I think it's kind of sad. It's a little sad, and it makes you feel a little sympathetic because the lyricist is just wanting to fit in with the other kids.
Okay, so let's go back and look in our classroom, and let's look at the tone and mood handout we had so that we are able to be a little bit more descriptive and use some better words than sad. Now, this is an anchor chart that is posted in my classroom.
Okay.
So I went ahead and found the original so that they would have access to it. But this would have been in my classroom on the wall.
So this is something they're already familiar with.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. So we look at the question. It says, what is the mood? So Max said that the mood was kind of sad. So we're looking for mood. Now remember, the mood is the emotional effect that the text creates for you, the audience. Mood is all about the audience, whereas tone is more of what the speaker is feeling or their impression.
Right.
So the mood is all about the audience. So we have positives and negatives. And can we find another word that is better than just sad?
It makes you sympathetic.
Sympathetic. You did say sympathetic. Does
I
anyone?
got envious.
You have what, Tyler Ray?
Envious.
Envious. Envious.
Want to be like the school kids.
Okay, and that's going to be something else that we talk about when we go into it and start looking at some textual evidence. What does it seem to be about? What does this song seem to be about? Anyone?
how someone wants to fit in.
They want to fit in with
The cool kids.
the cool kids, and that's what this is all about. They want to fit in. Now it says pay attention to what the singer or the narrator says, and they want you to annotate, and we've done annotating in our textbook. We use the My Perspective textbook, and it's a consumable, so they're able to highlight and underline and write those notes in the margins. So this is just a play on what we have been doing anyway.
Okay.
So were there any phrases or words that stood out to you, Clara?
Not her style.
Not her style. What about that stood out to you?
I don't know. Well, I mean, it was just the fact that it was like she's walking in a straight line, so maybe she's like someone who doesn't follow rules or something.
Okay.
Just because it's not. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Kathleen? No, nothing stood out? Anderson, did anything stand out to you with this song?
Yes, ma'am.
What stood out to you?
When she says they're invincible.
They are invincible. Who's invincible?
The cool kids.
The cool
saying,
kids.
like, nothing could really just slow them down.
Okay, nothing slows them down. Let's move on and look at, they said, pay attention to the change in pronouns. So we're going to go back and look at the lyrics again, because they tell us that there's a change in pronouns. So in the beginning, here we have she, and then it switches right here and talks about he. So the question is, why might the lyricist have changed? Why might the lyricist have changed the pronouns there?
To show that there's multiple people who feel the same way.
Multiple people who feel the same way. Mac?
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, what about being able to relate?
There are more people that relate to her than she thinks.
Okay, more people who relate to her than what she thinks. Maddie D?
That I was gonna say what Max said.
Okay, so do you think maybe it's because they want not only girls but boys to be able to relate? Mm-hmm. Just throwing that out there. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Because they start out with she, and that's going to be going back to our girls, but then he talks about he. So not only will girls be able to relate, but boys as well. After we read those, do we discover anything else? What ideas do you have? What new ideas after we've read through them? Do you have any new ideas? Matt?
Well, you don't need to worry about what others think, because there's bound to be other people, and most people feel that way.
Okay, right?
Like Max said, I think we go both ways, because like since they said that the cool kids are oblivious to how they are, but what if they just don't want to be noticed either, but they just do it on accident?
Oh, okay, that's definitely a way to look at it. So we're saying that maybe the cool kids don't even realize they're the cool kids. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes,
okay. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. After you read them, what do you think the lyricist's message is? And Mac has already alluded to the message. And what was the message, Mac?
We don't need to worry about what others think, because most people feel that way.
Now, they did ask for some textual evidence with that one. So are there some lines that you would like to point out that solidifies this as the message?
Well, whenever it says, it shows that multiple people are feeling that way, because you can hear the change of pronouns, and it says, and he said, and then it says, and they said. So that shows that multiple people feel that way, and so it just shows that other people feel that way.
All right. So the last thing we are supposed to do here is listen to the lyrics. And this is something else we did. We would have listened to it in the classroom, but in the Google Classroom, we found links to those songs. and they would have gone through and actually listened to the song and got a chance to hear what it actually sounds like. So that would have been more of the we do.
Okay.
And we walked through it together. And then the next portion of the song, or the next portion, they would have gone through and did the same thing with 15 by Taylor Swift. And that would have been more independent. So they would have answered the questions, and we have questions for each set of songs. And we put them on a checklist so that they would be able to, they answer the same questions over and over again. But for 15, this one's Stereo Hearts, but it doesn't matter. They read the lyrics and make notes. That's the annotation. And then they talk about the mood and the persona for each one of those. They identify figurative language, analyze it. They look at word choice, analyze it, and the overall message, and if anything surprised them.
Awesome. Can I talk to them for a second?
Let me pull you up.
All right, guys, we've only got about 30 minutes or 30 seconds left. Somebody tell me how this new style of learning, going through Google Classrooms, being at home, have you guys enjoyed this? Has it been more difficult? Do you wish to go back to school? I know every one of you wish to go back to school, right? Everybody nod your head, yes.
Says no.
Well, I know you all miss Miss Pittman. If you had to do a song yourself to analyze, somebody tell me what it would be.
I have one.
Okay.
Cats in the Cradle.
Oh.
Oh,
Well
okay.
done. All right, who else?
I have one.
Okay.
Glowing in the Dark.
Glowing in the dark. Very nice. All right, who else? One more. Somebody give me one more.
one.
Okay, what's that?
Never grow up.
Never
Never
grow up.
grow up.
All right, one more chance. Who hasn't spoken yet? Come on. I know you guys aren't shy. Madeline?
See you again.
See you again.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, I hope you had fun today with Miss Pittman. I know she misses you. We talked before the show, and I know you miss her too. So thanks for participating, and we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the school year. Miss Pittman, thank you so much for sharing your class with us.
Bye, guys.
And
Honestly,
coming in and teaching us about poetry today.
Yes, sir.
This was a lot of fun.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. All right, for Miss Pittman, I'm Greg Ellis. We hope you have a wonderful week.